Throughout history, entire ships, armies, and even villages have vanished without a single trace. No battles were recorded, no final messages were left behind, only silence and unanswered questions. From lost colonies to empty oceans, these disappearances still confuse historians today. Because sometimes history doesn't end with answers, it ends with mystery. In the late 16th century, a small group of settlers arrived on an unknown shore, full of hope and the promise of a new beginning. They built wooden homes, lit their fires, and slowly formed a peaceful colony. For months, life appeared normal. Letters were sent, supplies were planned, and the future seemed certain. But when a rescue ship finally returned, the village stood silent. Doors were open, tools were left behind, yet not a single person remained. No signs of battle, no bodies, no clear answers. Only a single carved word on a wooden post, left as the colony's final message. Did they migrate into the wilderness? Were they attacked? Or did they simply choose to disappear? Centuries have passed, but the shoreline still holds the same quiet question. Where did they all go? In the middle of a vast ocean, a merchant ship was discovered drifting alone. Its sails were damaged, but the vessel itself remained intact. When rescuers climbed aboard, they expected to find a struggling crew. Instead, they found silence. Meals were still laid out on the table. Personal belongings remained untouched, and the captain's log ended mid-sentence. There were no signs of violence, no lifeboats missing, no clear explanation. It was as if the entire crew had simply vanished. Search teams scanned the waters for weeks, but the sea returned nothing. No survivors, no wreckage, only rumors and speculation. Some believed a sudden storm forced them overboard, others whispered of mutiny or something far stranger. But the truth sank deeper than the ocean itself. How can a ship remain when its people disappear? Thousands of soldiers once marched across a burning desert, their shields shining under the rising sun, their footsteps echoing like thunder across the sand. They were trained, disciplined, and heavily armed. An army built to conquer kingdoms, not to disappear. But somewhere between the dunes, their journey ended without a single battle. Witnesses later spoke of a massive wall of sand, a storm so violent it swallowed the horizon itself. Winds howled for hours, and the sky turned dark as night. When the storm finally settled, the desert stood empty. No camps, no banners, no marching lines, only scattered shields half buried in sand, and endless silence stretching to the horizon. Search expeditions traveled for years, digging through dunes, following rumors, but the desert revealed nothing. Did nature erase them in a single moment, or did something else claim their fate? Even today, beneath the shifting sands, the legend of the missing army still whispers. In a quiet mountain valley, there once stood a small village filled with simple life. Morning smoke rose from chimneys, children ran along narrow paths, and farmers worked beneath the open sky. It was peaceful, untouched by war, surrounded only by nature's calm. But one morning, everything changed. Travelers arrived expecting voices and greetings. Instead, they found open doors, cold fireplaces, and streets drowned in silence. Meals still rested on wooden tables. Water buckets stood half-filled, belongings untouched. There were no signs of struggle, no footprints leading away. No final messages on the walls. It was as if time itself had paused, and the people never returned. Search parties explored forests and mountain trails for years, yet every path ended the same way: uncertainty. Even today, the empty foundations remain beneath the hills, quietly asking one impossible question: how can an entire village disappear without a single goodbye? On an ordinary evening, a passenger flight lifted smoothly into the sky. Inside the cabin, Travelers looked out of glowing windows, unaware that this journey would soon become a mystery. Hours later, the aircraft's signal suddenly vanished from radar screens. No distress call, no warning, only a blinking dot that disappeared into silence. Rescue teams searched vast oceans and endless skies for weeks. Helicopters scanned the waters, ships followed fading coordinates. Yet nothing clear was found. Only a few scattered fragments surfaced, raising more questions than answers. There were no final messages, no confirmed location, just theories and speculation. Some blamed sudden weather, others suspected mechanical failure, but certainty never arrived. Even today, the empty stretch of sky remains unchanged, quietly reminding us that sometimes people don't just lose their way, they vanish without a trace. History is often remembered for victories, empires, and famous names. But sometimes, its loudest stories end in complete silence. Ships drift without crews, armies vanish into deserts, villages fall quiet, and flights disappear into endless skies. These mysteries remind us that not every chapter of the past was written with answers. Some were left unfinished, hidden beneath time, distance, and fading memories. And perhaps that is what makes history truly fascinating. Not just what we know, but what we may never discover. Because in the end, the past does not always reveal its secrets. It simply waits in silence.